Yes. Hi, Pearl. How are you today?
Hello, Jennifer. I'm great.
Good. So, for those who don't know, Pearl Lewis is a loan officer with Geneva Financial. And Pearl, if you can just give everyone a quick introduction as to who you are, what you do, and why you do it, that would be really helpful.
Thank you so much. Yes, I am a mortgage lender or a loan officer with Geneva Financial, and I do home loans in the state of Texas, California, and North Carolina.
And what I love about Pearl is, even in our free time, because for those who don't know, Pearl and I are also friends. We met as friends and we realized we're both in the mortgage industry. I'm a realtor. And if I may say, Pearl will soon be a realtor. This at this point next year, perhaps. You will see, but I could see her being an amazing realtor. But for now, she is a mortgage lender, a loan officer, and she's really passionate about it because in our free time, when we are riding our bikes or just hanging out, something always comes up with, hey, have you heard this? And that's what I really appreciate about you because I know you're in the industry because you truly do love helping people. And it's not just about, let's close this loan just because I need that under my belt, but I love how you explain to your customers and your clients the entire process, and you are there for them every step of the way because that is not common in this industry, unfortunately.
Thank you. Yeah, and same with you. I think education to our clients is the biggest thing that's needed, right? And as we learn more and the ever evolving and changing housing markets that we're in, especially here in Dallas and North Texas, there's new things happening all the time. And so
Yeah.
it's really, really fun to always be aware of what's going on and how things are shifting and discussing that so that we can always be the ones to guide our clients appropriately.
Yeah, because they trust us. They have chosen us as the professionals in this field to help guide them through this very big process in their life. And speaking of shifting, I do want to mention this is the main purpose of our call. We just want to kind of check in and give people reassurance or kind of some guidance as to how to navigate home buying in this season. So, from my perspective, from the real estate perspective, traditionally in Texas, things do slow down around this time of year. It's autumn. Most people have already settled in. The end of the year is coming up. People are focused on the holidays, possibly some travel. They've tied up a lot of their things. And, we're first week of Q4. Is that correct? We're in
Right,
first week of
exactly.
Q4.
Yeah, I was even just wanting to say like, hey, we're it's today's October 12th that we're having this conversation. And yeah, we're in quarter four of the year, like the last part of 2023. So
Yeah, I mean, this is when people start tying up loose ends. And as we had mentioned earlier, our watchers are not going to know this, but you and I were talking about life events really dictate when a move is going to happen. Because if you have to move, you have to move. Not as though it's a pressing concern, but if there's an opportunity where you have a new job or you need more space or you need less space, a phrase that I recently heard of was right sizing instead of downsizing. So an empty
ooh,
nester trying to get
right
small space,
sizing.
right sizing. Isn't that
I
fun? I'm
like
gonna
that.
have to start
I
using that.
like that.
So
Right sizing.
yeah, right sizing. So what I'm seeing on my end, and I am a seller's agent and a buyer's agent, as you know, but some people might not know, things are starting to slow down. And there have been times where I'm representing the seller and we've gone all the way through pending, and the buyer is not able to close for whatever reason. And most typically, it is because of the loan. Not to say it's the loan officer's fault, but maybe some terms weren't met through the loan or something of that nature. So, how would you maybe reassure someone or maybe provide some guidance to someone who is in perhaps the season of home buying right now, October 12th, 2023?
Yeah. Gosh, and I'm sorry to hear that happening with the buyer side. Luckily, you and I've never done a deal like that's happened. And knock on wood, anyone I've pre-approved, we have gone all the way to closing day, and that's never happened. So that's great as well. But yes, it's incredibly important to make sure your loan officer truly has you pre-approved before you want to put that earnest money and option money down and get under contract, and making sure everything truly again, it's a lot about buyer education. And, is the lender that you have chosen really highly skilled to make sure, you're really going to be able to close on closing day? The guidance of truly, like you said, regardless of where housing prices are or where rates are, when people need to buy, they need to buy. And so right now, the cool thing is the buyer's market will, as things are slowing down, I know you can share from a seller's perspective, like things are slowing, right? We're still seeing,
Yeah,
the need
we're
is
more
still
open.
there.
Yeah, from a seller's perspective, sellers are more open to being flexible with some terms. So in the spring 2023, my sellers, the ones that chose to work with me, we had so many offers and we could appraisal waiver, way over asking, shorter option period, all of these things, right? But now, because it is slowing down, my sellers are a little bit more open. I've had a seller recently, by the way, the transaction that I had previously mentioned where the first buyer could not go all the way to closing, we found another buyer, they went all the way to closing. But in that instance, my seller was contributed significantly to the buyer's closing cost. So that
Wow.
was something that they would not have done in the springtime. And that's
Right.
not something that they would have been open to even maybe 3 months ago.
That's very
So
generous.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
are a buyer, now is a really good time to buy. Yes, I know the interest rates are scary, but in the 80s and the 90s, I know that interest rates were 18%. And those
Yeah.
people are now selling their homes for way over, like they're making, 200, 300% on their investment.
Right.
So you want to buy the house because even though the price increase is not as fast as it was, over COVID, it's still the trajectory. This trajectory is still home prices are still going up and up and up because it's a solid place to put your cash. And if you might not even be thinking about investments, but you need a place to stay. You need a place to live. And why not build some equity and start building your wealth versus paying rent? And if you have any questions about this, please talk to Pearl. Contact her. She is hands down my favorite loan officer, not just because we're friends and she's cool, but she really knows what she's doing. She is passionate about the real estate industry, so much so she is going to become a realtor. And yeah, Pearl, I mean, any other insight that you have aside from, make sure you have all the documents when your lender asks for it, make sure you have all the documents and stay in touch with your lender. Don't just
Right.
contact them when you make an offer. It's
Right.
like,
And
what?
that's the thing. As we are going up, the feds are, raising the rates and the cost of the rates. And why is that? Because they're trying to course correct where the economy is at. They're trying to prevent a recession to get from going worse, right? So housing is one of the main wheels in the economy. And so if the rates are going higher, it's gonna, potentially, people won't be jumping in necessarily right away unless they really, really need to buy a house. Maybe one of the things happened to your buyer is, say they were pre-approved months and months and months ago, the rate and the cost of rate probably was much different than if they delayed and slowed down and didn't see a sense of urgency. I'm seeing that now where I, have someone pre-approved and they delay and don't think really much of a difference, hoping that they're going to see sale prices go down, which they might. I mean, only if a seller maybe listed it way higher than they should have. They're going to let it drop down and down. Meanwhile, the rates and the cost of rate may be going up. And, can that buyer, maybe they'd be pre-approved, but are they comfortable with that monthly payment where that had shifted to? We don't know, right? And what a wonderful thing that the seller could come in because, again, depends on your loan. For a VA loan, a seller can come in at 4% in seller concessions, right? If it's an FHA loan, it's different. If it's a conventional loan, it's different depending on how much the buyer is even putting in down as a down payment.
Mhm.
So it's really a cool thing when the realtor the realtor and the lender team up and say, hey, on this loan with this down payment structure, how much can the seller contribute legally to the deal, right?
Yeah.
So we can close this and get this working for all parties. But I would genuinely say, stay in touch with your lender, making sure you are fully understanding all of the information that's being had. One of the reasons the feds have raised the rates, and they're charging more for the rates than they used to, that at the moment, they know they know that the moment the buyer is able to refinance, that they're not going to have it on their books anymore. They know that the investors who are backing these loans, right, who are, the way that it works with the feds and the interest rates, they know that they're not going to get your interest payments on a 30-year mortgage, that in 2 to 3 years, the moment rates drop, that you're going to go refinance that. They know that. And so that's why, unfortunately, you have to pay points when locking in your rate. The feds did report that there's going to be 2 more rate hikes this year. If that is a sense of urgency to get in now.
Buy now. Buy
yes,
now.
literally.
Buy now.
And
Literally go.
they are, and I did look back at my notes, they are talking that rates will drop maybe in 2025. But they're not expecting to hit the 2% rate like they were, like we saw in COVID, until maybe 2026.
Well, but that was
right?
done to help stimulate the economy. I'm not an economist, but
Right, true.
that was done specifically to help keep the economy going because so many things were shut down. I mean,
Yeah.
quite honestly, I don't think we had any business being that low.
Correct. That's the coolest thing about housing. If you think about it, in COVID, when everything's shut down, I mean, airlines are shut down, everything is shut down. Housing stimulates the economy more than anything else. You know why? When you do a cash out refinance, like if you were to say, oh my gosh, yes, I have a bunch of equity in my house. Let me refinance my loan to that low rate and get, cash out of the equity of what my house is worth. And then you're putting to work carpenters, or somebody who's going to build your new floor, or helping you repaint, or you're going to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever it is, and you're going to refix your garden, or you're going to put builders to work and plumbers to work and electrician to work, and your housing puts the community to work.
Yeah.
Housing, you're going to get supplies, and it's really, really a beautiful thing where you're not just reestablishing your loan with all of that stuff. You're buying things for the store from stores, and you're putting the whole community to work. So it stimulates the local economy.
Absolutely. It doesn't exist in a vacuum, because once you're a homeowner, there are many things you constantly have to take care of. So I think this brings us to our last point, and I think this is the most important one. This is why it's so important when you choose the people you want to work with, you want to trust your realtor. You want to trust your loan officer, because if you do not have a relationship with them, or if you do not trust this person who is guiding you to purchase a home, who's guiding you to get the financing necessary to purchase this home, then there's something wrong there, because you need to be able to pick up the phone and just say, hey, Jen, hey, Pearl, please level with me. What do you need? Do you think this is possible? And, there are times I've heard of other people contacting their realtor or their loan officer, and there are no answers. They won't even pick up their phone, which that's a huge disservice. So I'm going to say, anyone listening here, if you have any questions about real estate and lending, how to secure your first home loan, how to take the steps necessary to get you to that point, call Pearl, because you cannot go shopping for a home without a budget. You cannot determine your budget until you speak to a loan officer. And sure, there is the advice of shop around, but when you shop around, yes, that is, do your due diligence. However, a lot of times you're not going to save that much money by shopping around. Really, just pick the person that you feel comfortable with, who is knowledgeable, who can answer those hard questions for you, and who's going to be honest with you. Because if you ask them a question and they don't know it, they will tell you, I don't know. Don't trust someone who's going to make something up on the fly, and choose someone you trust, because that is going to be your go-to source. That is our industry. That is our job. And if you have a realtor who only shows up every few years, that's not a relationship. You contact me or contact someone like Pearl, contact someone that you trust. That's basically it. It's a relationship based transaction, and you need to trust the people you're working with. What would you add to that, Pearl?
Oh, absolutely. If you're hiring an amazing real estate agent like Jen, you know, you would trust and lean on her judgment. And oftentimes I hear there's not, it seems like a buyer may have their own opinion of the way they want to go about a transaction or the way they want to go about negotiations. And it's like, well, hold on. Have you talked to your agent about that strategy? And are you leaning on your agent's, judgment on
Expertise,
this?
expertise,
Yeah,
knowledge,
yeah.
wisdom, years in
Because
the field.
because it's your agent who knows the current market and has a relationship potentially with all these other agents that they're negotiating on your behalf for. They know the market trends. They are licensed. They are the experts, and really lean on the judgment of what they believe is the right way to go about submitting the best offer. What is your highest and best? What is the strategy? Well, hold on, look, I know you want to maybe come down on the price, but what if instead of asking to go down on the price 10K, what if we offered that full asking price and just said, hey, could the sellers agree to offer 10,000 in seller concessions or seller credits, however you want to phrase that instead? That always, it's better for the seller, and the agents are happy, and it doesn't change your monthly payment to go down on the sales price by only a hair of a fraction. But if it changes what you're taking out of your bank account for closing costs and you get to save that $10,000, boy, does that make a difference to you.
Oh yeah,
Right.
because
And
I
so
think
it's almost like a mindset shift on the way you're looking at the deal. And again, trusting who you've hired to help you and show you, like, hey, let's just look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. How does this really change things? This is option one. This is option two. At the end of the day, my client is the boss, and I'm the servant, and I'm a servant's heart. I'm a servant leader. I'm happy to educate and serve. But I would always say lean on the expertise of the agent.
yeah, and the agents are the ones who have been in the trenches, who know what's going to get an offer accepted, and your loan officer is going to be the person who can guide you, because it is in our best interest to make sure you get the home that you are asking for, that you are making an offer on. So we are going to set you up to get that home. We're going to do everything we can.
Yeah.
And yeah, a reduction in $10,000 or even $20,000 doesn't really translate to much less on a monthly payment, maybe $50. I mean, as little as like $5, $10, $20 a month. And no
Right.
one's going to hold that loan for the full 30 years. Typically the home is sold or that sort of thing. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. For anyone who has any questions about loans, how to get one, really how to get in gear and how to take the steps necessary to home ownership, call Pearl. She is your first call. After you call Pearl and you have a conversation with her, then you can contact your real estate agent or your realtor. If you don't have one, and if I'm available, then call me.
Yeah, thank you so much. You can get a hold of me, pearlofmortgages.com. That has my email address, my application, my phone number, everything's right there. If you are already an existing homeowner and you're curious about what would my home sell for? What would my next house cost me? I'm happy to crunch those numbers too. I do that all the time. We jump on a Zoom call and we go, okay, what do you think your house would sell for? I don't know. All right, well, let's look at what it would be. We need an expert like Jen to really give us the real comps, but just for the moment, let's just see, okay, what's your payoff amount? But I also always ask, what is your ideal monthly payment? And what is the highest monthly payment that you're like, I do not want to go over this monthly payment right here.
Yeah.
If you know that number, I'm going to keep that in mind. And I'm going to like, okay, if you don't want to go over this monthly payment, let's figure out how we can strategize. Yeah. And it's all puzzle pieces. It's like, okay, well, do you have more down payment you can put down? Okay, well, this is how this works. So we may need to look in a house in this sales price, we can look at, and it's all a puzzle, it's all puzzle pieces, the loan aspect part, and strategizing how we can make that happen, or, is it even possible?
Yeah, or you'll help them come up with a plan in the next 3, 6, 9 months or something like that. So, and for the love of all things house related, please do not rely on Zillow or the Zestimate for your value of your home, because that is so inaccurate. I love Zillow, I'm a Zillow preferred agent, et cetera, et cetera. However, that number is not accurate. So anyway, for more on that, follow me, follow Pearl. We'll link our information on this video, and yeah, reach out to us. We're always happy to talk real estate. Thank you,
Thank
Pearl.
you, Jen. And how can people get a hold of you?
Oh, they can find me through 469-640-0901. That is my cell phone number. Or they can email me at jjdertouzos@gmail.com. That's a really great way for me to track a message and, put it in my CRM pretty quickly. So yeah, thanks, Pearl.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. And thank you for caring about our clients and what's happening in the real estate market to even want to do this.
The better others do, the better our world becomes, right? So
Yeah.
we're all in this together, and why not make it like a great place to be in?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thanks, Pearl. Bye.
All right. Bye.